Hi, beautiful people. Welcome back to another episode of Love Life After. I am your host, Christelle, and today's conversation is one that I know will inspire you to redefine what success and purpose truly mean. My guest went from being a corporate marketing executive to building a company that helped entrepreneurs and leaders align their brand, story, and purpose. And today, she's sharing what she discovered about identity, resilience, and joy through her own reinvention.
Baby, you're my coat. She got me feeling like a dope fiend. I'm addicted to a black queen. Baby, you're my coat. She got me feeling like a dope fiend. I'm addicted to a black queen, a black queen.
Welcome back to Love Life After. I am so excited that you guys are here with us today because I'm going to allow my guest to introduce herself so we can dive right in.
Thank you, Christelle. It is a pleasure to be with you. I am so excited to have this conversation. Hello, my name is Véronique George, and I am the Chief Storytelling Officer at the VLG Group, where we partner with entrepreneurs, corporations, and organizations to define their brand story, elevate their brand presence so that they can deliver greater impact in the marketplace.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Earlier, I was reading your bio, and I'm like, this is amazing. Like, how do you get through all this? But before we start, I just wanted to say this. Like, sometimes the most powerful stories are really the one that we tell ourselves, and they also remind us that whatever we're going through, if we put our mind to it, we can achieve anything that we want. Does that make sense?
It
Hold on.
does. It does make sense. I think what you said just a few seconds ago is so important. Your mindset when it comes to success, whether that's a career or as an entrepreneur, if you're looking to pivot into your next chapter, that your mindset is so critical. Without the right mindset, just showing up and first believing that you can do it, right?
Mhm.
Believing that you can succeed at whatever you put your mind to, it's going to be very difficult for you to do it. You have exactly what you will say. You will have exactly what you will think. And so if you
Mhm.
think, I can't make it out of the situation, I can't go forward, I don't want to go forward, I'm tired, I'm frustrated, I'm overwhelmed, that's exactly what you're going to invite into your life. And so you're going to manifest that behavior. But if you say to yourself, that I'm going to make it through this time, no matter what that time is, you'll be able to get through it. It just depends on what you tell yourself, what you want in your mindset. And so there are always times where you might think, okay, when things aren't going the way that you had anticipated, or maybe you plan something and you're like, oh, I didn't expect that
Right.
outcome, right? Like you
Right.
might have a plan A, B, and C, but still there are going to be some things that you can't plan for. In those moments, I think it's very easy to say, man, is this the right decision? Like, did I make the right decision? Did I hear myself correctly, or did I hear mentors or whoever is speaking into my life if it wasn't myself correctly? And it's just in those moments that I think we have to ground ourselves and go back to our plan. Like our plan and why we started, our why never changes. And if we just center ourselves and go back to that, again, leading with that mindset, like we'll
Mhm.
always find ourselves moving forward.
I love that you mentioned about leading our mindset. And sometimes like trying to find those things that define our identity, like really feels like something that's ending or something that's becoming or even like the beginning. So like how did you identify shift through the process? Was there like a moment when you truly felt like you were stepping into your purpose?
Yeah, that's really interesting. Now looking back, I realize that I've always been in purpose, but I just didn't realize it. So when people talk about purpose, they often will say, start with those things that you're most passionate about. What keeps you up at night? What can't you get away from? Like, what are you thinking about when you're in the shower, when you're driving down the street? What keeps you grounded and moving forward and excited about pursuing life, right? And I think that's the very beginning of purpose. So whatever you're naturally excited about, whatever you naturally like to do, or whatever you're naturally called to do or find yourself doing, I think your purpose is not too far behind. And for me, purpose comes in action, purpose comes in movement. So when you start to say yes to opportunities or say yes to that calling or say yes to that interest or that passion, you will naturally organically evolve into your purpose.
Yes, that is so real because many people struggle with that sense of who they are too, especially after like transitioning. Because I know for me, like how much peace and clarity that it brought to me, just like finding my purpose, right? But thank you for sharing that and to be open to share that part of you with us. So as we all know, like many people, with letting go of what's familiar to them, even when they know that sometimes they need that aspect to grow. What helped you to find the courage to start over?
Yeah, I think that's really interesting because it's how we look at it, right? Our mindset. I really view it as rather than starting over, a continuation of. Like I've always lived my life, yes, saying yes to the moment. If the moment was aligned with what I wanted to do, if the moment felt like it might have been the right opportunity, you never truly find out sometimes until you begin to step and then your steps are ordered. So I can't say, for sure that I would have decided to make every step knowing what I was stepping into. But I'm glad that I said yes to every moment. And I think that's where the courage, that you talked about comes in. And because I've lived my life like that, just saying yes, being very open to opportunity, that it didn't feel like it was a pivot. It didn't feel like it was taking me in a different direction. It just felt like a continuation of, I consider myself to be a storytelling strategist. And from the time that I can remember, I've always been writing stories. So when you talk about passion and when you talk about purpose, I remember in the fifth grade coming home after going through what fifth graders go through and writing in my journal about the day. And then that evolved into me writing poetry. And then that evolved into me writing short stories, plays that I produced at my church. And then that evolved into me producing on a professional level and writing 3 plays of my own, having my last work featured at the Atlanta Black Theater Festival. And so I just consider myself to be evolving in every area, in every stage of my life, that it's just a continuation and things have naturally progressed, naturally and organically evolved. So that has led to now the VLG Group. And so taking it, pulling in that storytelling through line, and of course, me being a playwright has only contributed to the success that we've seen at the VLG Group as storytelling strategists.
That is beautiful. It really shows how important it is to just listen to your inner voice, and even when you know, they don't make sense sometimes. But I just love how you turn those uncertainty into strength, and that's really powerful. As Black women, sometimes we feel like we have to stay in this box, right? But you went and venture off into your own person and creating your business. You also mentioned about learning to separate your self worth and professionalism. Um, but how did that realization come about for you?
Yeah, that came about for me through my work in marketing. So I've been working in marketing for the past 13 years. I reached the top of my career. I've worked as a chief marketing officer and, of course, in my own firm. And an opportunity came up that allowed me to grow. Now, with that opportunity was the lack of the title, the lack of the leadership position that I've worked all of my career to gain, that I earned, that I put in my stripes leading strategy for. household names like Nature's Own, Cobblestone Bread Company, and Tasty Cake. But an opportunity came up in tech, and I love tech and I love healthcare. And when this particular opportunity presented itself, I looked at what I would be creating. I looked at the areas that I would get a chance to grow in. And rather than step into a role where I knew I could easily succeed at, right? That wasn't a challenge that would not allow me to grow as quickly or expand my capacity as much. I, again, said yes to an opportunity in tech because I wanted to gain that experience. And so when you look at what do you want, like mapping out your life and being the owner of your life, taking ownership of your career, of your purpose, of your company, and what that looks like, what matters more to you? The title for people is to call you VP or chief or director, or does that experience that you can leverage for your business or for your next step speak more to you? So I think it's just deciding what you want more and being really content and settled in yourself to know that a title does not make you. And so that's when I realized I made the decision, you know, to say I'm going to step into this role and still lead communications within this space. I don't have the title that I've had, but I have the experience. And that is so much more richer to me because that experience will take me a lot further and only add to the depth of knowledge and experience that I can offer my clients.
Absolutely. I think that could resonate with a lot of us, especially like, you know, high achieving women. And it's amazing how freeing it is once you realize your worth isn't just tied into what you do to as well.
Do you have an inspiration to start your own podcast? Are you still undecided about starting your podcast? Well, Buzzsprout has the tool to support and to help you along your way. And they also have a community to ensure you keep on podcasting. Buzzsprout have helped over 400,000 podcasters launch their shows since 2009. So we've seen it all. I've been using Buzzsprout since 2017. Buzzsprout has helped us list our episode on so many platforms such as Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, Deezer, Pandora, and so much more. Buzzsprout has reached over millions of listeners by listening to our podcast in all these platforms. If you are still unsure about which platform to use, click the link in my description box and head over to Buzzsprout to get more information. Remember, that's BUZZSPROUT.com. Again, BUZZSPROUT.com. Happy podcasting.
So yeah, tell us like, so what's something new that's, you know, going on with you? What have you been doing? What do you want to share with our audience today?
Yeah, and I appreciate this conversation is really, really good. You're asking some really thoughtful questions that I definitely appreciate. And I hope it is helpful for your audience and community. But I am definitely happy to share what we're working on next. You know, I mentioned that for the past 13 years, I've been working in marketing, and I've gotten some really great opportunities to work with leading brands across the United States and globally. And what I've done is taken all of my experiences in corporate, you know, working on those consumer packaged goods products that I mentioned earlier, working with nonprofits like a nonprofit in North Carolina called NC Black Rep, the North Carolina Black Repertory Company, and leading them through their largest and most successful seasonal production in their 46-year history, and some other accomplishments. I've created what I'm calling a strategic storytelling system. And what that means is guiding the partners that I work with, whether they're organizations, corporations, or even leaders, through a storytelling framework So at the end of this time together and this experience, they will know exactly what story they're telling. They'll know their why and their passion and their purpose behind the why. They'll know how to position themselves in the marketplace and how to tell their story. They'll know how to show up on what platforms and key metrics and what defines success. And then they'll walk away from this system with an actionable plan that they can implement day one. And so I'm really excited that over the past 13 years, I've rolled this up, all of my learnings, all of my experience and successes. It's a proven system to now offer it to organizations across the United States and to help them to tell their story. I read a stat recently from Stanford University, and a professor was talking about storytelling and how stories are remembered 22 more times than data that's just shared with audiences. And so if you think about positioning your brand to be remembered, positioning your brand to be different in the marketplace, for people to know exactly what you have to offer them, and being able to connect and engage with your audience is critical. And so I'm really happy to share this system. That's what's next for us. You'll also find in that same system, one-on-one time with me in a group setting. We'll have a dedicated Facebook group where the community can ask questions. We'll be very active in creating a space that is nurturing, that is supportive, and that will hold you accountable for getting homework done throughout this 5-week process. But also you'll have office hours with me every week where we can talk about, where are you stuck? Where are some roadblocks? Where can I assist you? What are you thinking about? Let's help to define your story together. And so I'm very, very excited to offer this because I know at the end of it that everyone will walk away with so much clarity. We did a beta test recently, and I walked through the program with 3 other entrepreneurs, women entrepreneurs with very different backgrounds, one in marketing, one that has a consumer product, and then another one that's a coach. And they all walked away with the same takeaway, very similar in that the course and the framework provided so much clarity for them that they felt so much more equipped to tell their story from a marketing perspective. And that's what I'm most proud of, that this actually works. It not only works in corporate and the brands that I've worked on, but definitely for all entrepreneurs. It's varied across industries, and I'm just really excited to bring it into the marketplace. It's launching really soon.
Wow, that is very, very interesting. To just hear the part about like branding, your testing, like how your definition evolved from like storytelling and the kind of growth that it shows like real reflection, especially like when you in a business. Like most people that know me, like they know that I love storytelling. I started this podcast because I wanted to do storytelling. I wanted to share my story. So I love that, especially the part about, you meeting with, getting involved with like different women or different people. I don't know if they were women. I don't want to quote you. But it's also like a good reminder for just not just for me, but for a lot of people to just like slow down and just reconnect with other people and being there, and you're actually being very intentional about all the stuff that you do, and I just love that. So I don't want to go off topic, but I do want to ask, like, I want to go back a little bit. Can you tell us, like, what really inspired you to build the company about, like, storytelling?
That's a great question. I really believe that it evolved naturally. And the story behind how we got started was what I went into earlier about writing from a very young age and that evolving over time to producing more and more and more. I produced my first play in 2018. And that was to a very large audience, but I knew that I needed to get the passion that was on the inside of me out and share it with the world. And so when we talk about what is that thing that nags you, that won't leave you alone, that you cannot say no to, that was me. Like, I am talking to myself. And that's how I got started in storytelling, how it evolved from me journaling in fifth grade to now producing plays, on a national level where we've reached more than 100,000 people through our work. And so organically that led to writing my second play. And then the pandemic hit. And so I was faced with the decision to either not produce this play because we cannot go outside or shift the medium and shift the channel. So we started producing digitally. And I shared my second play complimentary to audiences across the world because of social media and because it was digital. And then started producing shows. So there was a first show called The Conversation where I would interview leaders and professionals in the entertainment industry. And then I started producing another show called The Center that focused on women and building out your holistic self. Wellness is a brand pillar in my company. Of course, mindset is a big component of that. And so I always talk about wellness mindset from that perspective, but really got my start in writing and then evolving from there to writing plays and producing shows. And my last job, the chief marketing officer position, brought me to North Carolina, where I was invited to lead the rebrand and storytelling strategy for the nation's first institution for women and girls. It was founded in 1772, and they were looking to solve for pivoting in the marketplace. And so I led them through that strategic process. But I also knew that it was the same city that the first Black professional theater company was based in. And I did my research. It was so interesting because before I accepted the job, I thought, what is the next level in terms of writing plays and producing my work? And that was the National Black Theater Festival. So I was thinking about, okay, how do I start, meeting people here and getting connected to this community in hopes of producing my work at this festival. And I found out after accepting the position and moving to North Carolina that the school that I was leading this rebrand strategy and marketing strategy with, they were actually one of the venues where this company would host their theater productions for the National Black Theater Festival, because they would work with different organizations across the city to produce more than 130 performances. And so the school that I was working at happened to be one, and we were producing 3 of the shows. So very long story short, I spoke with the artistic director, and by the end of that conversation, he hired me to lead their marketing strategy for the festival that year. And that just started a relationship that spanned over a few years, and we still have a really good working relationship to this day. But that was the pivotal point that I would say the VLG Group was birthed, because I said yes to that moment, and I said yes to showing up and guiding them through the same work of rebranding their strategy to position themselves in the marketplace. They're a legacy brand, and they wanted to modernize their look. They wanted to reach a younger audience. They wanted a new brand, a new website. And so I fulfilled all of that for them and secured a pro bono contract for them as well to lead that work of about $250,000. And so that was the starting point for the VLG Group. So when you said, like, where did that start? It really started organically. It just started by me saying yes, which is what I've been doing my entire life, my entire career. And it's
That's
just
incredible.
So many doors. Really proud of the work that we've done. And I applied my same system to the work with them as well. And that led them to their highest grossing show and most attended performance in their 46 years. From there, I got a chance to work on other productions on Broadway, like MJ the Musical, and some others that are in the works. But I'm just so excited about the work that I did there. And that's really the origin of how things got started. It got started in storytelling, and then it got started with theater, which I love. I'm so passionate about it. So
I could feel it. I could feel your passion, but the passion behind the mission, that's just incredible. Like, that is so good, because I think like so many leaders forget that their story really, the brand behind their story is them. And just hearing you and feeling, I could feel your passion. I could feel how much like you love storytelling. And where can people like see this play that you have? Like, where is it at?
Well, we have a productions arm of our company, so it's on YouTube underneath the VLG Productions. But I would love to guide your audience and community to the VLG Group. We are on Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. And there you'll find helpful tips for marketing, very practical, actionable tips that will help guide your marketing strategy, social media strategy, AI strategy, including prompts on how to use AI in your business and what that looks like from a marketing perspective. Of course, storytelling strategy. So I would encourage everyone to follow us there. We also have a little freebie. So our freebie is, if you sign up for our freebie, it's our lead magnet. You can find that on our website. You can also find it at thevlggroup.com. You can also find it on our social media channels. And it provides a guide to create your content. So using batch content strategy, as well as the best times and days to post. And then lastly, I would invite everybody to join our email list, where they will get an email every week from us that's customized around our offerings, social media strategy, storytelling strategy, a lot of great tips. I heard from a business owner recently. They own a company in North Carolina, and she just reached out to me on LinkedIn and said, I really, really enjoy your newsletter. Like, I love it. Every week it's just so helpful. And I ended up sharing what she said, because I had no idea that it resonated so well with your community. And that's one of the best compliments that you can receive, when they tell you exactly what she did, which is what you're producing is exactly what I need. So it was just really helpful to hear that. And I'm really grateful to be able to serve my community and our community from the VLG Group's perspective on that level. So I hope that answers your question. I would love to stay connected, and I hope that you guys follow us for more great content.
I think so. I really think that was a great way to put it. Because it's amazing how you're helping other people by sharing what you do, and having like a space where, like the Facebook community, like where people could come and really feel like a community. And one of the things, like, I met you through this program that we're both in, and I feel like in that group we're building this community where like people could connect and really be like an intimate kind of community, but still like find ways where we could have like a sisterhood to help each other, share our stories, and feel empowered, because we're all in the same predicament. We're all trying to like, head to the same place in our businesses. So I am just so proud to like be able to like meet you, to have this conversation. And I do want to ask you though, from your perspective, what's the most common story mistake that you feel like leaders like us, like, there's a lot of us that we make, especially when it comes to our businesses?
Yeah, I appreciate that question. And I do want to say like how grateful I am to have met you. So I met you through another entrepreneur at the Goldman Sachs orientation. And if it was not for her, we would not have connected. And that's exactly how that community is. Just so warm, so inviting, and so supportive, which is what this moment is all about. You supporting businesses like mine. So thank you, and kudos to you for the work that you're doing and your service. What I found, that number one mistake is that business owners, entrepreneurs, personal brands, they really hone in on one aspect of their story, just one little lane. And what I would offer to your audience, community, and beyond is that we tell our holistic story, that your story is really birthed out of you. And just the same way that you're not a one-dimensional character, if you will, in a play or in the story of your life, it's the same way in your business. That your business, if you were to just talk about the products and services that you sell, that you have to offer your community, that's just one aspect of your business. What about the full story? Like if we look behind the curtain and we also saw what you value, because what I found is your community, they connect with you, based on the quality of your products and services, but they really want to know, is your message resonating with them? Can they see themselves in you? Because if they see themselves in you, then they know that you have a solution that they need. And that's what it's all about. When you're able to serve your community because they know that you can help them, like they have full confidence and trust in you. And that is an awesome place to be. And so I would just like to offer that to you. Does that answer your question?
Yes, that's it definitely do answer my question because it's very inspiring and grounded in the mission that, I feel like I'm in the same boat when it comes to making sure that I'm not making those mistakes, especially like when it comes to sharing stories. I just recently wrote a book that align with what you're saying, because what I did was I just put different stories from my line of work and put it into a book. So it's called The Crown Method. It's actually coming out on the 22nd of this month on my birthday. So yeah, I'm just excited and I'm learning more. I think the last conversation we had, you gave me some advice about story sharing, and then I'm trying to implement in those, like with different meetings and things that I actually have I think 3 or 4 meetings before the end of the year. So I'm excited to use those pointers that you gave me in those meetings when I go. Is there anything else you want to share? How people can find you? Like anything else that's going on in your business so they can reach out? I think you just share some information about your Facebook, but you say your website, but you didn't tell them what your website is.
Yes, our website. Please, thank you so much, Christelle. Join us in community at www.theVLG Group. That is V as in Victor, L as in Larry, G as in George.
Sorry, guys, I lost her for a second. So I'm just going to go ahead and tell you what she said. She said VLGgroup.com. That's VLGgroupe.com. I will definitely put that in the description box so you don't miss it, so you could connect with her directly. Wow, what a beautiful episode. Veronique, she reminded us that, our story doesn't really end where it starts. And of course, it also really begin when we do, when we actually put it out there, when we do the work, that's when our story really do start. If you love this episode, please make sure to follow Veronique and check out the VLG group to learn more about all the incredible work she's been doing to help others share their story and with all the impact and her authenticity. And as always, thank you for tuning in. And if you have any question or comment or concern, please don't forget to, Email us at lovelifeafter18@gmail.com. And don't forget to please leave us a review and share this episode with someone who might need just a little reminder that life after change can be full of joy, purpose, and new beginnings. Until next time, don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to follow us at love.lifeafter on social media. And let's continue to love, live, and heal after whatever obstacle we're going through. And thank you again, Veronique, so much for joining me today. I really, truly appreciate you. Till next time. Bye.